Hello, and welcome to Recap Video 7 for Furry Cartooning for Amateurs, Winter 2026. It is February 24th, 2026, and tonight we went over the class scene guidelines, and we used Robert's rules to amend them and democratically approve them. And then we also did one drawing activity that helped us get going on our two-page comic. Um, yeah, so the first thing we did was a warm-up activity. I'm just going to show you mine. The attendance card, of course. Tonight's prompt was draw yourself. Let's see if I could do this in fursuit. Draw yourself as a clown. Draw yourself as a clown. So 3 minutes, draw the border, put your class name in the top left, put the date at the top right. You have 3 minutes to draw your persona as a clown. All right, so we warmed up with drawing. We started with drawing, and then we got into the nitty gritty. Well, first we actually shared about our homeworks. Our homework assignment, which was to draw a one-page comic using the format, the very specific format that we used to make sure that our paper was digest size. Look at the last video if you're looking for that. Um, yeah, and so some classmates talked about what their experience was with that. One classmate said that, well, multiple classmates said that it was like a puzzle, solving a puzzle. And one got help from someone else, and another person was like, "Oh shit, this is very hard." After writing all that, and then trying to figure out how to fit it into a one-page comic. And then another student talked about how it really helped them process emotions on and something that happened very recently. So that's something that comics can do. And then another student did the instead of doing the nonfiction activity, did the fiction version activity, which involved a bunch of little creatures. Again, look at the last video. And the one of the three words from the dictionary was very adult, and so getting the little creatures to do this very like adult thing was kind of like a fun prompt, I guess I'll say. Um, yeah, and I think that's it on the homework sharing. The zine guidelines was the next big thing. So I introduced Robert's rules, and I'll explain that here for those who missed it. Robert's rules of order is just a way of democratically making decisions, right? And I've made multiple zines with my local meetup um, that we use consensus, I think, at first, and I think that's still the best way of doing it, especially the small group. Write out all your expectations, all the guidelines, so that you all understand what the thing is that you're going to make, and then go around the room and make sure everyone says yes to it. And if anyone says no, then you have to change the guidelines. But with a group such as this, it's pretty big. I decided, hey, let's do some of these things. Let's decide them democratically. There were a few, maybe about half of the guidelines I said no, since I'm going to be the editor, I'm the teacher. We're not going to debate or amend this stuff. But there was some stuff that I wanted to keep open to the class, and so I guess we did Robert's rules kind of fast and loose, but I let people join on Stack. I'm kind of explaining this for people who want to kind of recreate this in the future. Basically, we were on a Discord call, and there's a chat on the right, right? And I said, just type Stack if you want to be in Stack, and I called on people. And so you can motion to amend something, right? And if someone seconds that motion, then we get into the discussion of the amendment, and then we talk back and forth, and then eventually we vote on the amendment. You can do polls in Discord, which was really nice. So I did the poll, and yeah, how many details do I want to go into it? The polls last for like, I think the minimum is like an hour. So I don't think you can like close it, and people can change their answers and look and stuff. And so maybe it's not like the um, most precise way of doing a voting thing, but it works really well on Discord. So we amended a bunch of stuff, which was really good. And then we passed it. So now we have guidelines for the zine. If you're looking for the zine guidelines, I have yet to publish the amended version. So I'm going to do that after I'm done recording this video on Discord. Yeah, so I'll post that in the announcements channel. What else? So the next thing I did was I showed examples of submissions to the zine, which I will share here. Screen with webcam. Boom. Okay, examples. So next week is, um, well, let's start with the zine. So this is the format for Lulu, a digest size zine. Let's zoom in here. So I made this format based on what was in their guidelines. So this outside red edge, these are the bleeds. Make sure you post what you send to me, and that's in the guidelines. But when you submit it to me, make sure everything is at least sticking somewhat into this red area, okay? So that when the page gets cut, there's no like white edges from just like blank paper, okay? And then we have the margins, so try not to draw in this area, especially the left and the right. You can ask for like 2-page spreads and say like, oh, I really want this one to be on the left and this one to be on the right. But remember, like, otherwise, either the left or the right is definitely going to be cut off because this is going to be a pretty big zine. So make sure, especially on the left and the right, you have these margins, and the inside is the good area. So here are some examples of me digitally putting stuff into this format. Okay, here we go. This is these are all examples of things that I'd accept. So I did some minimal filling here digitally, white here, white there. This is good enough to be added to the zine. I also did a different version of this where I put a piece of color paper in back, and I digitally copied this section of the paper over and like mirrored it down here. It's a little advanced, but like you can do things like that, just simple things that try to keep it as like traditionally created as possible. Like this one, I did 0 digital editing. And then here's like, you can see some of the red here, but as long as it's into the red, that's good enough. The red, there's like a line here that's going to be cut. And the same over here. Another example, just like a diary comic. An example of like, it's not like your typical format, but make sure that you have your class name on every single page. I think I need to decide whether or not I'm going to make an exception to the rule. Like, I guess my class name isn't on here, so I would reject this one. I reject this one. And I think I would reject this one too. So unless I decide to like make a special rule for two double pages that are definitely going to be double page spreads. Which I know we already finalized the rules, so maybe I won't. Yeah. And so here's like a 1-page comic. This one isn't colored. It's okay if you didn't have enough time to color something. You can do that. And I'm also taking extensions too. So Sunday, March 8th is gonna be. Oop! I broke the magic. I was scratching my scruff. Okay. So yeah, those are the examples. And then next week is going to be at the beginning of class. We're going to do a comics reading, and so you can do a specially formatted comics reading PowerPoint if you'd like, with your 1-page or your 2-page comic, either of them. An example of splitting it up into a PowerPoint is this. So this is like a comic I did before the class. Who's Gabumat? Hi, I'm Gabumat. I'm Matt's Fursona. Okay, you don't have to go so crazy. You're probably not going to have enough time to white out the words, but splitting up the panels is something that's really fun and looks cool, and you'll have like a comic you could read to anyone else in the future, like that, any kind of presentation. Or you can just share your screen like this and zoom in and read it and scroll. Hi, I'm Gababat. I'm Matt's Persona. Oh, why did I make him and how? And just scroll through. That's a great way of presenting too. So those are the 2 ways to present if you want to present next week. Now, I went over the zine guidelines, and I went over the examples. So now we're going to get into anchor images. So let's move over to the document camera. Boom. Okay. So, spoilers here. So this is a way to get going quickly on your 2-page comic if you have an idea already. This is an idea I took from Linda Berry's Instagram just a couple of weeks ago, actually just last week. She told her students, make get 5 note cards, and then draw a frame on them, on one of them, right? And then you're gonna have 3 minutes to draw um, and from an image in your comic idea. So I do recommend like an X page first to think of things you've seen, you did, especially if it's a story like, I don't know, your first furry convention, like write things you've seen, did, and then like choose from there and do a 3 minute card. And so, for example, mine is my developing crush on Wendell Fortnite. So this is the first time I played Fortnite in front of a bunch of friends, and it was a bot game, right? And so this is not you. This is not you setting up a panel. This is you just getting into an image, but then you can use it as like a panel later. Like maybe I drew this, I'm like, okay, this is going to be my first panel. So there's probably going to be text up here, and oh, I really should like look at like some, I don't know, the living room again, make sure I'm drawing it the way I want to draw it. Things like that. But like just keep adding details because you can use that later or change it or whatever. So you're not going to be placing this drawing in your comic at all, but like you've gotten into the Linda Berry image, right? Capital I image. So 3 minutes and then do another one. It doesn't have to be like in the next it doesn't have to be chronological. You can go to the beginning, the end. I like just choosing an image that I know has to be in the comic. So here's one that has to be in the comic, is like the first Fortnite skin that I thought was like really cool and sexy was the werewolf one from like Halloween or whatever. I don't know when I started playing, but I was like, oh my gosh, it could be this like really cool, sexy, big buff furry man. Very exciting. So just go through and do 5 different images. And if you really don't know what you're gonna do a comic about, maybe do 5 images from different potential comics and see if one really hits. But this is the way to get your momentum going. This is me screaming as I experience a Chapel Roan skin for the first time, and she's killing me, and Wendell is crawling away, and that's what this is. Yeah, so I spoiled it earlier. But yeah, just try to get into the image, and then your hand will be moving. And then you'll be able to place these kind of in your mind a little bit in the format of a 2-page comic, and then there will be like blank spaces. So if you like thumbnail like a little tiny 2-page spread and then say, oh, this is gonna be, for example, this is definitely gonna be panel 1, right? And then maybe, well, this is definitely gonna be panel 3, and I need to do something in between. You can kind of start to space the comic out that way. It's really nice to draw on note cards and do things like that. And as a reminder, I really want you to put the name of the comic. I think mine's just gonna be called Wendell Fortnite. Okay, that's a working title. And then put your class name on there too, in the first panel is my recommendation. And then like it's the same format as the 1-page comic, but 2 of them. And I recommend writing the word end at the end of the second page. I didn't say that in class. Okay, so that was the activity, and then it was just a free draw time. So we chatted, and I got some music going. Yeah, I think that's it for now. So optional furry comics reading next week, and then we will be doing our furry rave as like the big finale. Furry rave, as in I'm calling it furry rave activity. I'll make sure the music is going, and yeah, we'll have a celebration at the end of class. And then a week later, all the zine submissions will be due. You'll be allowed to submit things late if you just ask, and we'll get it published direct on Lulu. And oh, if you're following along, you'll be able to buy it. We decided that other people will be allowed to buy the comic that we're publishing, and there will be no profit from this comic, and there will be a digital version that people can opt out of as well that anyone could purchase, I believe. I think that's what we decided, but I'll have to look at that. Yeah, so if you miss this week, please don't miss next week. It's the last week, and you get to hang out and draw, and it's you get to at the very least watch other people's attend a comics reading of other people's work, if not present yourself, and do a final drawing activity together. This class has been so special to me. I'm just mostly running on adrenaline and learning a lot. So thank you for your patience as I learn OBS and whatnot. And yeah, see you next week. Bye bye.